Let's start, Andy, with the NBA and James Harden. James Harden already called Daryl Morey, the 76ers president, a liar, not once, but twice, Andy. And now he's saying the relationship between him and the 76ers organization cannot, N-O-T, be repaired. He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't trust Daryl Morey. And he wants out, even though he was the one who re-upped his contract to be able to come back to Philadelphia. And as soon as he did that, he asked for it to be over. He was quoted saying, I've been patient all summer. For me, it's just focus on what I can control and getting ready for this season. So he just doesn't want to be there. He's put out feelers saying that he would be willing to go play in China. And I'm going to ask you, Mr. Andy Furman, put on your general manager's hat. Act like this is the Cincinnati Royals and they got an NBA team again. And you're the GM.
Right.
What do you do with James Harden?
I would say this. A normal situation, I would say the majority of fans, when you open the phone lines, I'd say they're down on Harden. You know, he's no good. He's a cancer on a team. He's attacking the general manager. And I'm taking the other approach. I'll tell you why. Yeah, you're right. He's 33 years old. I think he's a future Hall of Famer, average about 25 a game career. Okay. He did re-up, but he re-upped on the condition that the 76ers would trade him to the LA Clippers. And this is according to several people, and I read this story the other day in the New York Times. That was the condition. Yeah, I'll re-up with you guys, but you got to trade me to the Clippers. So basically, Daryl Morey is a liar, all right? And Daryl Morey, and people are going to say, well, you know, he took care of him in Houston when Daryl Morey was a GM in Houston.
He sure did, though. You can't dispute that.
No
Come
doubt.
on now.
And then he brought him to Philadelphia.
And he got him from Brooklyn, right? When he gave up a lot to get him from the Nets. So he has a few times done things to help James Harden. Would you say that?
Right. No,
okay,
I'm hearing what you say, and I think there's a better way to go about doing it. But I think in this day and age, when an athlete goes public, when he goes either social media or basically in the hardcore media, usually things get done. I'm surprised he hasn't.
What if there's no deal for him? The deal is no good for Philadelphia. I mean, this is my issue with the Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard asked to be traded 6 weeks, 2 months ago. Right? 6 weeks at least. Nothing's happened. Portland's not going to just give him away, Andy. Don't you have to if you're going to give away a player of that ilk, you got to get something in the deal for your organization. It ain't about making the players just happy. Oh, trade me for a bag of balls and some rosin. I mean, come on. That's not how it goes. So maybe the deal that they thought they could have done with the Clippers just isn't available because they're not willing to part with the players that the 76ers need. They have Joel Embiid, a franchise player, who they need somebody to be around him, so they just can't give him away. That's why I'm saying I hear what you're saying about them re-upping, but you know how this thing is done. Andy, that's why people have contracts, right?
They don't mean anything.
I'm saying, but word of saying I'm going to do this or do that for you, you can't always live up to that. That's why you have to get it in writing.
Right, but here's the possibility that may happen. If, in fact, Harden goes, there's a real good chance that Joel Embiid may go because some of the comments we heard from Joel Embiid were the fact that he wants to play for a championship team, meaning that he doesn't think the 76ers are that team. However, I think that's kind of ludicrous because here's the guy who was the MVP. Here's the guy who was Coach Doc Rivers at the time, basically pushed him into getting that MVP. So I think it's on your shoulders. You're the freaking MVP, you know? And you're crying about not winning or going deep in the playoffs? Come on, really?
And he didn't play well when it mattered.
No.
So, I mean, that's the part that is a little surprising. But I'm going to tell you, you said you would make the deal and move Harden. I'm telling you, if I'm the 76ers, I wouldn't. I wouldn't cave in. This guy has had his way. He forced his way out of Houston, forced his way out of Brooklyn. They went out and stuck their necks out for him again in Philadelphia, and now he wants to force his way out. I'm not
gotta let him
catering.
go.
I'm
gotta
not
let him
catering.
go.
No, I'm not catering.
You
to
can't
him.
have an unhappy guy on your roster. That's the thing.
Listen, don't show up and don't take my $35 million. I'm fine with that. I'm dead serious. Sometimes you got to draw a line in the sand. You just can't cave every time. You can't cave all the time, Andy, every time.
But the
somebody belly
76ers
you.
have. There's a history of the 76ers caving. In 1992, Charles Barkley, he was gone, okay? Allen Iverson, he was frustrated with the 76ers. He was traded in 06. Andre Iguodala, when he was traded in 2012. There's a history with that franchise that players are upset, and when they cry, they get traded.
Yes, but James Harden is a whopper with the extra sauce and all that other stuff.
You're right.
I mean, this guy has done this time and time again, and that's my point. I get it if a player wants to move on and handles it a certain way. How many times is this guy going to pull this act? It's just like, Andy, marrying an alcoholic, and then you're surprised that she wants to stop off at the liquor store on the way home, right? He told you who he was, didn't he?
Right, but here's the thing. He was promised. He said, I'll re-up if you trade me to the Clippers. So, here's the one point. Look, I agree with you. The guy's a troublemaker. He's a hell of a player, but he's 33 in the twilight of his career. No doubt about that. But he's
and
a
he
hell of
can't
a
give
player.
it to you every night. You saw what happened against
no doubt.
Philadelphia's
But he
playoffs.
was promised, saying, I'll re-up if you trade me to the Clippers. That's why he's calling Daryl Morey a liar. That's why.
Yeah, but I'm trying to tell you that it's one thing to say, okay, re-up, and can you move me? It doesn't mean I can guarantee a trade. You're asking a GM. And once you do that with the Clippers and they have you over a barrel, they don't have to give you anything. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right. They couldn't find this. They couldn't find a suitable deal. There's
exactly,
no doubt. They couldn't
exactly.
match.
And that's different from telling a guy where you have no intentions of trading him and you just can't find the deal. Damian Lillard did the same thing to Portland when he said he only wants to go to Miami. There goes your leverage, right? What is Miami going to do? Offer you nothing because you're stuck. It's bad. That's why players shouldn't do that in public. But I'm saying if James Harden wants to go to China and play or sit out or whatever, and I get to keep and I suspend him and keep my $35 million, I'll do it. I'm just not going to cave into this guy again. He's done this time and time again. At some point, man, when is owners who own the team and front office people who are running the team going to put their foot down?
You know what? You can't. I got to tell you right now, you can't, because who has the leverage? They're the stars. They're what the people pay to see play. These are the guys, really. It's easy to say, I'm going to put my foot down. I don't want a guy like James Harden, showing up late, getting overweight like he does at times, not coming to games, claiming that he's sick. I don't want that in my locker room. I don't want that. You got to give in. It hurts. It's terrible. That's the nature of the beast. But here's the deal. I'm not a big fan of Daryl Morey, really. When he was a GM. When he was GM back in Houston, I think it was 2019, he traded Chris Paul and a couple of first-round picks for Russell Westbrook. And then the Rockets lost in the second round of the Western Conference players. What has he done as a GM in the NBA? He's never won. Never
Zero.
won a thing.
I agree with that. I'm always amazed when he got hired there. But Philadelphia, they hired Daryl Morey. They hired Doc Rivers, who was coming off a terrible, playoff loss when the Clippers blew a 3-1 lead, and then they went and signed him anyway. I mean, I don't understand the ownership and some of the hires. But, all right, we want to hear from you.
Yes.
877-99 on Fox. For you laymen out there, that's 877-996-6369. Andy Furman says, hey, the dude wants out. I don't want him around. He's going to trade him. I say make him sweat. Make him not show up, save your $35 million and fine him for not coming to work, and make him, just like the Nets did with Kevin Durant. Remember, he wanted a trade? They didn't do it. Well, they said that they couldn't get equal value.
Right.
And they refused to just give him away. So we want to hear from you. Who are you with? Andy Furman or yours truly, 877-99 on
You drew the line, you SOB. You drew the line in the sand. David's in Miami. David, you're on the Odd Couple. Go ahead, David.
You are so on the money, it is not funny, okay?
You
got billionaires running this team. He doesn't want to play? Sit on the freaking bench and be done. This is the fourth team that he's forced his way out of. And you want to reward him by trading him and not getting value back?
It makes no sense.
Is he kidding me?
It's not a reward, David. You're getting rid of trouble. That's what you're doing.
No, you're rewarding him to send him to L.A. where he wants to go.
And David wants him on the bench. So if I'm a teammate, knowing that this guy's a career 25-point-a-game guy, I say, wait a minute. We're not getting our best opportunity to win.
You got to play amongst the rules, Andy. You got to be like everybody else. This is what's happened.
This guy is not a 25-point scorer anymore. Did you see him? He had 2 good playoff games. Rest of the time, he looked like he was overweight by 30 pounds the whole year. Who's going to give up a bunch for this guy? Know that you're getting a headache.
And that's why, David, you're 100% right. That's why when he opted back in, there were no takers.
Right.
He could have gotten the deals with somebody. He was free agent.
There are no takers, not because of his skill set. There are no takers because of his actions. That's why there's no takers.
But that's part of it.
You talk about the owners, okay, with all this money. When was the last time they gave some guy a $200, $300, $400 million contract and he turned into a flop and they got their money back? When? Can you name anybody?
Right. It's never happened.
No, and it never will happen.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Love the passion, too.
Right. MJ in New Orleans, you're on the Odd Couple. Go ahead, MJ.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Good.
Doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm good, Rob. Professor Rob, you over there sounding like ownership, man. Hey, man, this is the big boy NBA. If someone wants to pick him up, that's on them.
No, but I'm saying, no, you're not MJ. I said I'm not giving him away, okay? So I'm not just pacifying you as the player, just the same way Damian Lillard is still in Portland because Miami hasn't made a trade offer worth me taking. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but also they've been trying to run Dame out of town for years just because he was a good guy and whatnot. But now when he gets a chance to get somewhere else, now they're like, oh, no, we can't do this. We don't know what's on the table as far as trading. Let's go from that particular point. Harden was not ran out of OKC. They let him go. They didn't want to pay that money. They preferred to get the 4 points from Kendrick Perkins. So let's not forget that Houston spoiled him rotten. It is what it is. Daryl Morey was there. Got him to Brooklyn. Guess what? Steve Nash ran him out. You want to know why? Scoop B, who came on you guys. Okay,
I'm going to stop you, MJ, because you just sound like a James Harden apologist, and that's fine. If that's the no, you're good. I heard your point. You made your point, and that's cool. If you want to be an apologist, and every step of the way is somebody else's fault other than James Harden, then you got to live with that. I don't want to hear it. Thank you.
All right, that's fine.
877-99 on Fox.
I'll say this, and I hear what you're saying, and I'm not totally turning my back on what you're saying, but the fact that he could hurt the team's chances of retaining Joel Embiid if they let him go. And that's maybe one of the reasons why. I don't think it has anything to do with what they get in return. I think if they let him go for anything, draft picks, a good player, whatever it may be, there's a good chance Joel Embiid's going to do the same thing, and he's going to go. That's the problem.
But if you let James Harden do this, what's going to stop Joel Embiid from doing the same exact thing? That's what I'm saying is once you do that, You've opened up yourself to let Joel Embiid do the same exact thing to you.
I hear what you're saying. Sam in Tennessee, you're on the Odd Couple. Ho, Sammy.
Yeah, man. I'm a great fan of y'all, and I just want to say,
thank you.
Sit Harden on the bench. They don't play in Japan or whatever.
I hear you.
You're a guy paying these guys big money. You want to see a guy sit on the bench and still pay the guy?
They're frustrated. Fans are frustrated. Come on, Andy. Nobody's asking. The guys are handsomely paid. The tickets are through the roof. Guys don't want to play. Come on, man. I'm sorry. I don't want to sound like, hey, you kids, get off my lawn or the old guy. But this is a turnoff for fans. Andy, when was the last time you paid $400 to go to an NBA game?
You're exactly right. But
I'm being for real. When?
Never, and I won't.
Okay, and there you go. And that's what I'm saying. The people are calling in who are frustrated. They're NBA fans. I had my brother and my 2 nephews come to L.A. and I took them to a Nuggets Lakers game. It cost me $2,000.
It's crazy.
$2,000. And we weren't sure who was playing. And thank God Anthony Davis played. Luka played, and Kyrie. We were fortunate there was no LeBron, but we didn't know who was going to play. Imagine selling out that kind of money, Andy.
I hear what you're saying.
An average Joe. That's not fair.
You're right. Fans aren't frustrated with big salaries and what these guys make. You know what they're frustrated? Losing teams. And I'll tell you about the 76ers. They have not made it to the Eastern Conference Finals since 2001. Right? And Doc Rivers, he was hired as head coach a few weeks before Morey joined the team. This guy has a history of choking in the playoffs. You know that, okay? So they're not frustrated with the big salary. I don't hear guys crying about how much a guy makes.
No, it's not that. It's about the big salaries, and they don't want to play. And the fans are left holding the bag. I'm just saying that's the frustration part. That is it. These guys are handsomely paid, and a lot of them, they don't want to play. They want out. My God, I don't even know how you could buy a jersey of any player of today in the NBA.
But this isn't anything new. You're a baseball historian. When baseball players would say, play me or trade me, it happened back in the 60s, 70s. This is nothing new with players.
But it's not. Give me a baseball player that was on 4 different teams in 4 years.
Right. Okay, you're
right. James Harden is totally different. He is the epitome of the player today.
Because he's trouble.
A player like Kevin Durant, as talented as he is, he's been on 4 teams. How's a guy that great been on 4 teams like a journeyman? I mean, those are the things we're talking about. All right,